Are you as a real estate agent looking every single day to provide more value to your clients? I have a new system that I've just implemented over a long time of ideas that I want to share with you, my annual review. Not just another CMA, an actual annual financial review for the biggest asset that most people purchase in their entire lives. And you as the agent can deliver that to your clients and make sure that you get all of their referrals and their lifetime business. Stay tuned, I'm going to dive into the whole process. What's up, guys? Coach Kane here, Realtor Playbook. So excited to dive into this topic today. As always, smash that like button, give me subscribe, comments. If you have any questions about this, I'm also going to provide a free template to my annual review that I have put together, I have tested out, and is absolutely crushing with repeat and referral business, as well as just providing value to our clients, as that is the number one goal that I have as a real estate agent. So stay tuned and we're gonna dive in. All right, so the first thing that I thought of when I was putting this idea together, and I've seen agents on social media throw out, I'm doing my CMAs and just kind of blind shooting at, a complex or sending a CMA out to their entire sphere or whatever. The honest truth is a CMA is kind of a boring piece of data that most people really don't understand. They really just care about that value of their home at the end of the day. And once they have that value, they don't know. So I have a good friend, Jason Hartbauer. He's a super awesome financial advisor with Northwestern Mutual. And I kind of started talking to him because my thought was that, I sat down with him years ago with a $25,000 stock account, and I was willing to sit and listen to him and take value from what he was telling me about my financial future. But I had $25,000 that was growing at 5% a year. So I thought, how can that relate to real estate? I do know that real estate is one of the largest investments anyone will ever make, most people will ever make in their lives. So I started kind of thinking of it from a financial advisor perspective. And a lot of people, say that, the relationship doesn't end at the closing table and all of this stuff, but do they actually mean it? Do they actually execute? I'm all about execution when it comes to this. So what I did was put together a plan to approach my clients that have purchased a home. Obviously, if they've sold a home and not purchased another home or moved, relocated, they're not on this list because I don't have that asset to review. So all of the people that have purchased a home with me, I've kind of targeted as, wanting to not only maintain their business, but earn their referral business, which is another thing that financial advisors do really well, is they get referrals. And, my good friend Jason built his entire business off of, the old, give me 3 people who this could help. And I kind of understand that. I don't love that, like, give me their information, I'm going to call them, I'm going to do it. But he built a whole business that way, and people are willing to share information when they get value. So what I do is on the annual anniversary of their home purchase or the home anniversary, I send or deliver to their home crumble cookies. This is just a local cookie shop, and they get, it's $20-$30 to send them cookies. They're amazing. I have to deliver them, so I don't have to go buy them. So I have someone else deliver them. A lot of them use DoorDash, and there's a mail option and all that stuff. So I do that, and without hesitation, every single time they receive them, my client reaches out to me and says, hey, thanks so much. I can't believe it's been 5 years, or I can't believe it's already been a year. And that's a perfect opportunity for me to respond however they reached out, whether it's a text message, a video text, a phone call, and say, hey, absolutely, I would love to sit down with you on a Zoom call since we're so comfortable with Zoom nowadays. Or, if it's one of my A+ level clients, I'd love to take you out for a bite and just go over your real estate annual review. And no one ever says no. They're eating the crumble cookies, so they're happy, but then I have to execute the annual review. And my annual review is pretty simple. I kind of leave it as an open dialogue. I have a template that I have certain things on, which I will share with you. Again, if you want that free template, there's a link to get that in the comments below. But literally, I just say, okay, what is, the estimated market value. I don't spend a lot of time on this. I look at the comps, I kind of come up with it and put it up there. And then I look at their loan and I know how long it's been. And I ask them how much they owe and that kind of stuff. If they've paid any extra or taken any like HELOCs or, equity loans out. And so I put their equity position there. Currently in our market, that's a huge number. However, I caution all of you that if you start this, continue with the value, even when it's a hard conversation, because, as we go through this changing market, that number is going to get a little smaller and it probably will get bigger as we go. As we all know, real estate, increases over time. So those are the only two things that I have printed out on that piece of paper. And then below that, I have all these notes of all these things I can do. And the secret to all of this is not really to gain business for myself. It's actually to gain business for my business industry partners. So I have on there, talk to an insurance agent and make sure you're insured properly. So that's one thing that I discuss, because in our local market, we had a serious fire that took out 1,000 homes last spring, and 80% of those homes were underinsured. And so those families had to relocate, or, they were left with a piece of land, and, with construction costs as high as they were at that time and still are, and labor and all that stuff, some of them were not able to rebuild the same home that they had before that fire happened at no fault of their own. So I always hit on that insurance, piece, because I point to the equity position and I say, we've had such an increase lately. I just, suggest you talk to an insurance person or your insurance person, if that's whoever that is. Sometimes they have no idea who it is. Sometimes I can slide my insurance guy in there. And then I move on to, what are we going to do around the house? Is there anything you would like to do around the house in the coming months, years, whatever? And my goal there is to help them with ideas, help them spend their money properly, ninja way to help manage the asset, right? Because if I'm maintaining this relationship, my expectation is, whether it's in a year, 5 years, 20 years, or 40 years, that I'm going to be the real estate agent that's going to sell that house. So it would be nice to have nice, modern, finishes and updates as we go. So it kind of gets them thinking about that. Once we talk about the contractors, and I've had anything from, water softeners to, whatever, it doesn't even matter. Then I ask the question about, is there anything you have in mind for that equity, right? Is there college tuition? Is there weddings? Is there, family legacy? What's your plan for that equity? Because that number is likely bigger than any savings account any of us will ever have if they've been in the home for a considerable amount of time. And it's important to talk about that, because at that stage, it's monopoly money. It's not real. However, could we leverage it in a different way? Could we pull some out and buy an investment property where that part of that money is building, as well as your primary residence? Or, is there big college or wedding expenses that are coming up for your family? I know that's important to me as a father of 3 girls, to pay, help pay for college, help pay for weddings, and have that piece, and hopefully pay for a first house eventually. So, and you don't know that, and you don't know what really makes people tick until you ask them that question. And so they all say that, your primary residence is your worst investment. So as a financial advisor to these people in the real estate world, I like to talk about, what are we going to do with this equity? Are we leveraging it properly? Is it sitting there? Are you in the Dave Ramsey crowd? Do you absolutely not want a mortgage? Great, we can do that. But just kind of get their story and get their reaction to that question, and then you kind of know where to take it. And sometimes that leads to, stories about the kids or whatever, or say we're having, this Superman birthday, and, then I can connect. I have a client that's a, baker who makes custom cakes. So I can connect them and provide business to another client. So as you can see here, it's just kind of a whole web, because if I can help all those people in my sphere, not only will these clients sitting in front of me see the value, but so will the other people who I'm sending business to. And if I can send that business to them consistently by keeping it, in-house and keeping it within my sphere, that's absolutely what I want to do. Because first of all, I know they'll be taken care of because, every person I would refer, I've done work with or had work done for a client or whatever, and I know they'll take care. And, they're only as good as their last job, but I know that it's a little bit different coming from me. And so that's absolutely my goal, is to not only provide a ton of value, say, okay, here you go. I know the contractors. I know there's a bunch of ripoffs and scams, going around. Here are people I trust. Here are people I trust to do a good job for the right price and will take care of you. And so that's super important. And you'd be shocked at what, goes into these conversations. And then it's just is there anything else going on? Is there anybody else that that's looking to buy or sell or whatever? I usually don't ask that question, but it usually comes up because we're flowing so much value into this conversation that it's almost natural for people to think about that. So that's kind of my goal. My strategy is to help everybody else build a business based around these meetings. I obviously will get some retention from the clients and referrals and things like that. But if you can kind of develop an army and then refer those people out and help those people build a business, that's where the secret is. So again, if you're interested in my template, please see below. And what I do after, if we're in person, I love the in-person stuff. It's great. Allows me to kind of be a active thinker and, sharpens my skills as far as that goes. But also, face-to-face on Zoom is okay. A lot of people are a little bit burnt out on that these days, but that's really what I've done. And I think that this strategy, now that I've had some transactions under my belt and, done a ton of transactions on the buy side, I think that this strategy will eventually be my only lead generation source because I believe that much in this value. And, once you build a tribe, you can make it happen. And the one thing I would say, if you're a newer agent watching this, if you don't have these clients, you can still offer this to people in your sphere, because I guarantee you that their agent isn't doing this, maybe sending out, a templated CMA or whatever, and you can maybe slide in there and be like, hey, I'm gonna provide this value to the people that I care most about because I'm working on sharpening my real estate skills and growing my business. And so that helps. And then you can start funneling people to those industry partners that you probably have, and we can go from there. Another thing that I work on in these meetings is, are you in the right loan? Do you have that mortgage insurance that we can get off? Does your loan even allow for mortgage insurance to fall off? Do you not have mortgage insurance? Whatever that may be, there's something about the loan that usually can be modified in most cases. Are you at an interest rate where it would be, smart to refinance and lower that payment a little or pull some money out or whatever that is? So we definitely look at the loan piece of it as we move. And then we kind of go on to, the next steps of what we're going to do with the equity and all of that stuff. All right. So that's my master plan as far as annual reviews. I've just revamped this. I've always known it's a part of my business, and I've always touched base with my clients as much as I possibly can. But this is going to be an annual thing. I'm committed to it. I've had 5 or 6 of these meetings, and the response has been absolutely great. So I'm super excited to do this. And once I leave that meeting, then I basically take my notes that I, jotted down, and I type it up in a template, and I send that to the client. I use the same template. It's branded. It looks nice. It looks modern. And they have that, and they have a sheet or a PDF that they can kind of look back and think about, show their friends at parties like, hey, my real estate agent just did this. It was super helpful. So if you have any questions, let me know. As always, throw me a like, give me a comment. Would love to have your subscription, and look forward to connecting with you soon. Go win today. Let's go.